Hi all, very good morning.
Hey Ashish, good morning.
Good morning, guys. We'll start in 2 to 3 minutes.
Hey, Hajis, before starting, I just want to let you know that that Google Drive is not working. That link is not working.
Is it?
Yeah, yesterday it
So,
was working, but then after I'm not sure whether after that evening or yesterday night, the link is not working for me.
let me quickly check. Just a minute.
It says like user has been deleted or something. Yeah, the same issue.
Okay. So, anyone from the coordination team in the call? Uh, 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 Someone from the Jane portal was is here or they left? I think they left. Okay, no worries, no worries. So I'll let them know. Oh, in fact, I will let them know now. Just a minute. Okay. I have informed them. Let them take action on that. Okay, phone or so something changed in the Google Drive link. Yesterday night it was working actually. I was working. Okay. Okay, so I got some information from the coordinators that they have some ongoing issue with the mail ID of Google, so they are fixing it. Okay, okay. So what they are saying after the session, they're fixing it. If after the session it won't fix, then I'll pass to them. They will mail you the notes. Is it fine?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So okay, it's 6:05. So let's start because you know I think few of you are like moving to office also. Okay. So yesterday, guys, yesterday this enumerate function we discussed, right? Same few other functions that I want to tell you about filter, is instance, map, and reduce. So let's try to understand this filter function first. So what is this inbuilt filter function? First of all, it will help you to filter out few of your required items. Now, when I said filter out, the filter out should be from an iterable. So what are iterables that we can you recollect? Yesterday
Something
with
on which we can iterate through, like list, tuple, string, etc.
correct. So it will filter out our required items from the iterable, and we can achieve that using filter function. For example, suppose if you see, I defined one function here called find the positive number. Okay, this is my function name, and this is how we define functions, right? If you recollect, and in the input parameter, it is a single number. Now, how this function will work? Like, if we pass a number, a single number, it will return if it is greater than 0 or not. Then can you tell me what is the return value from this function? What is the output value for this function? It's returning num, that means what is the input parameter? Greater than 0. Now, what does that mean?
Positive values.
Sorry?
Positive values, right?
Yeah, so it is checking positive values, but it is returning num greater than 0. What does that mean? Whether it is a number, it is an iterable, it is a integer, it is a string, what type of data it is going to return us?
The type of integer.
Integer, sir. Integer.
Are you sure? Can we quickly verify that? So I defined this function, okay? Now, if I will call this function, how to call? I'll take the name of that function. Suppose, yeah, suppose -10 I'll pass. Okay, what will happen? We'll see. Can you see what it is returning?
Boolean.
Boolean.
Boolean value, right? So that is what. So this function output data type will be a Boolean function, and it will tell you whether it is a true or false. Okay, not an integer, not a string, nothing else. So this is what important thing that you need to keep while understanding the code. You need to know what type of data it is returning. Okay, this is the first thing. Now come back to our filter function. I will delete this line. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a list using the range function from -10 to 10. So how did I achieve that? I took a variable where I'm going to store my list, that is called number list. Okay, and in the range function I have passed from -10 to 10, right? And I made this a list data type by passing inside list function, right? So when I pass this number list, which contains the range from -10 to 10, I made it the list. This is what I'm going to get. Agree? 10 to 9, -10 to 9, right? Now let's filter it out using filter. Okay, filter function. So this is a built-in function called filter. Now, but as so to understand filter function, you have to understand any function, what you need to do, you need to understand what are the input parameters, what are the types of the input parameters, or how many input parameters you are going to pass to that function for any function, and more of all, what kind of data it is going to return us, right? Like this one, whether a Boolean or something else, right? So when I say filter function, I am passing first of all two things here. So that means how many parameters? Two parameters I am passing. Okay. What is the first parameter? First parameter is the function that you want to check or that you are going to use for the filtration process. And the second parameter is the iterable, where you are going to apply that function. Now this function takes how many input parameter? One. This is a list. and filter takes two arguments. One is the function, one is the iterable. Now what will filter do? Filter will call this function, that means its first parameter, on its every element from this list. Okay, so this filter function will now apply to the single element or individual element from the list. And we know what is the return type of this function? Boolean, right? And in case if it is true, then it is going to be listed as the positive number. So that means what we did to check this function, whether this is positive or not, same thing it is doing by applying every single element from the original list.
Ashish, one doubt here. Ashish, sorry to interrupt you. Actually, in the first function, you have written that the function returns false number if number is false. When you are giving the value of 10, so how it is we are returning the Boolean value?
Correct. So this is a very good and conceptual question. Okay, so check this. This is a condition.
Yes, you have written that the first in double quotes. This function returns positive number if number is positive. When you are giving the value of 10, it is returning the Boolean, right?
No.
It's not returning the
returns
value,
it is
right?
returns the condition, or it returns the Boolean value. Sorry. Correct. Bool value. Now it's correct.
Now it is fine. According to the condition, we have said that it will return empty.
Correct. So that is a little bit modification here. This is not an integer. This is a condition. So condition will return a Boolean value, true or false. Now it is making sense, right? Now same thing. So what we did to check this? Okay, so I got now. So by looking into it, you guys said integer. Sorry for that, guys. Sorry. So bit of writing mistake, typing mistake. Okay, so this is a condition it is going to return. Checking the condition, returning a Boolean value. So the thing is to understand here, when you pass this function as an argument, so you are passing a function as argument to which function?
One more function.
Filter function. So filter is an inbuilt function. You made a custom function which checks the condition of the number, whether it is positive or not, and returns you a Boolean value. And that function you are passing as a first parameter to the filter function and the iterable list. Now what this filter function will do, this filter function will take each element from this iterable and pass it to the function, how we tested -10 or 10 in this function. Okay, so once that is done, once this function will return true, then it is going to store in the positive number list. And this is where you got the output. All the negative numbers till 0 got removed, and all the numbers which are positive from 1 to 9 are got listed. Now any query on this?
Yeah, Shusha, actually that filter function was over there, right? So is that will work with the user-defined function and the variable that we were describing, or it will also work with the normal list, like without an function? Like we have written list filter find positive number command list, right? So is that possible to write as a list filter and with a number list, which is the list we have given range -10 to 10.
So you mean to say you will interchange this position, right? That's what you're telling.
No, not interchange. I'm asking is that will work without the function, like only
No.
this argument, like.
So that's you want to understand here. That this is also a good question. How many arguments or parameters this function is taking? So this function expects 2 parameters to be passed. Okay, so if you let's try that. If I'll remove the function, this is what you are telling, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's see the error that you are getting. Filter function expected 2 arguments but got 1. right? That means you have to pass two arguments or two parameters inside the filter function, or it will, so if you make it three also, it will throw the error. Okay, so two functions. So you need to keep in mind when to apply a filter function. So suppose you want to filter out something from the iterable. So these inbuilt functions are like a small things which is there to make your life easier. That's the point here. Okay, so you need to keep in mind when to use this function, not a bit complex, but easier thing, small thing, filter out few things from the list or something. Based on the condition that you have written inside your custom function, you can define and pass that custom function as your first parameter. Then the second parameter is the iterable from where you want to filter it out. Could I explain? Let me run again. What is happening? Why it is taking so much time to run? So, Dinesh, like, did you get why we can't, remove this and only pass this one?
Yeah. It need two arguments. Get
Two
it.
arguments. Yeah, that is fixed. When they built this inbuilt function, they have defined. So here also we have defined, right? How many arguments this custom function that I have built? Only one, right? If you'll give
Yeah.
two, then this will also throw error that you define the function originally with one parameter. You can't give two parameters or two arguments. Okay, but that's how this filter function works.
No,
Okay,
actually,
so yeah,
just one
yeah.
question. The number that you are storing, already the values from -10 to 10, right?
Yes.
Then we can pass the number list as a argument, right? Then what is the need of find positive number?
Okay.
Already it's a
That
collection, right?
right. Okay. So that is a good question.
We just need to filter the values need here, right?
Okay. So tell me if okay. So I got your question. Just one question from my end. If you don't use filter function, can you tell me how to do it? Just try a bit. Let's not use filter function. Only the function we have written and the list we have which contains -10 to 10. How we are going to do it?
For what?
To check whether every number is positive or not, and to filter it out only the positive number. Okay, I'll tell you. So you have to
In that
run
case,
it.
we need to use that above condition, right? Num is greater than 0 or less than 0.
Yes, so num is greater than 0. How many parameters it is taking? Just only one parameter.
Yes.
Right? But how many elements we have in our list? -10 to 10. Right? We can't simultaneously pass -10 to 10 here, right? Because this is a number, and if we'll pass a list inside it, it is not going to make sense. So what you are going to check whether list is greater than 0 or not. But that is our not aim, right? Are you getting what I'm saying? If we'll pass the list here, then according to our logic, what we defined, it will check whether list is greater than 0.
But here you are not giving that condition. No? Num is greater than 0. You are using the filter. Filter is nothing but we can use it for the collection, right? Filter.
So
Already
inside this,
-10 to 10 is a collection, right? That's what I am asking.
So here you want to write the filter function inside this.
No. Actually, no. Actually, num is equal to range -10 to 10. That's already it is giving the collection, right?
It is the list. Yeah.
Yes. So already it's a list. Number of files are there in the list. So then it can you can use the filter and we can get our output, right? Then what is the use of this positive number here?
Find positive number. What is the use of this find positive number?
Yes. Now you are passing the two arguments, right?
Yes, here, right? Find positive number and number list.
Mm-hmm.
So you mean to say if I'll use filter and pass this number list, it will work. That's what the question, right?
Yes.
I need not to give this one.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Got it. So yeah, again, like all I'm really glad to have these questions. So the better answer is to run it and see whether what is happening, right? But what is happening, I'm not sure. Is there any network issue happened?
No,
Why it
it's
is
fine.
running?
Net is fine. Network is fine.
Network is fine, then why it is not running? And why it is running in loop? Is there any issue with Google now? Okay, let me load it actually, guys. Let me reload. So when you say we need to pass the number list and the filter function, that it will do our work. Again, the same thing what Dinesh asked, same thing. This function, filter function, expects two parameters, two arguments, right? You give any one argument, don't give two argument, it is going to throw you the error, like how it is going to do right now. Okay, here, see, I didn't use the custom function. I passed this list which contain -10 to 10. Again, the same error you will be getting. See, filter function expected two arguments, but we passed only one argument. So here the thing is, we are studying about filter function. So we need to know how filter function works. Filter function works by taking two arguments always. The first argument would be a function. The second argument would be an iterable, which is going to be applied by that function. Could I explain?
Yes, yes. Go on, please.
Okay. I'm trying to make it back. Okay. Something is wrong. Just a minute, guys. So let me make everything back to normal. Right. So it is just one example of filter, guys. There are other types of function also which will do the same work, but with a different condition. You need to keep in mind what is the difference. Maybe you are going to say that, okay, whatever filter is doing, other function also doing, but you need to keep in mind what things you need to keep in mind. Filter function is working for the first argument as a function which is returning a Boolean value. Always remember that. So any function that is not returning, that means checking a condition. If that condition checking, if you want to check any condition, then you can use the filter. Now, if this function will return an integer or some other value, this is not going to work, or you can't use this inside the filter. That you need to keep in mind for filter. Now let's go to, I'll come to this is instance, because this is just piece
Ashish,
of,
can
yeah.
you hold on your screen actually? Yeah. For this function actually, so if you use the for loop and if you iterate that collection, we don't need that filter, right?
No need that filter, but yeah, that is.
We
So,
can mention the epoch condition that num is greater than 0. If num is greater than 0, then print the num, right? Directly.
correct. So you can do like this. Let me write the thing without using the filter function. So what I will going to do, I will make the list here. Okay, and I'll remove this one for I in number list, right? What does that mean? I'm iterating over the list, right? Okay. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass this every element inside the so if this equal to I, then print I. Can you see what happened? If I won't use filter, I can write like this. So what I did, I wrote how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Or if you want to store these values in a list, you have to define a list, empty list. Okay. Empty list, and you need to append it. And once you do that, if you print the list, if you print the list, it will print out the things. So can you see what happened when I tried to implement this without filter? How many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. But same thing we are achieving by writing a single line. So this is our output, right, guys? Using
What
filter.
is that append thing you have written, Ashish? What does that append actually do?
Yeah, so when you have a list, right, and you want to add some items to the list, this append will help you to add the items to the list. So this is an empty list, and each number we are passing to this function to check whether this is positive or not. If positive, then we are adding that number to our list, empty list. So in the first run from -10 to 0, it is not going to add any number to this list. After it starts from here, 1, right? So when 10, minus 10, -9, -8, -7, all will be false at this stage, right? All will be false at this stage. So if false, it is not going to append it. But if it is true, that means going from starting from here, if it is true, then it is going to add that number to our empty list. That means append means keep adding, keep adding. Okay? Making sense, right, guys? Or still any questions to clarify?
Ashish, with the same list, can we find the even positive even numbers with the if you see you have given the positive
Correct.
numbers, right? Find positive number. Instead of that, we can find the positive even numbers, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
here and number, right? This condition. So if we define your function to get only positive and number should be divisible by 0. This is also one condition, right?
Right.
Let me check whether this is working or not. Getting it? So here by adding another condition and number should be divisible by 2, we are filtering out positive and even number. Okay, and to do this, if you want to use filter, you have to write this much piece of code to get the result. But using filter, which is inbuilt function, you can achieve the same thing using just one piece of line. Filter, pass the function. So what it is doing in the background, it is running the for loop for us. So we need not to write the for loop to run. Okay, in the background, this filter function is helping us to run a for loop. Making sense, right, guys? Any other stuff to get clarified here?
Yeah. So this filter function was used to can you please briefly tell what
Okay.
is the actual
Use
use of it?
cases.
Because
Use cases. Yeah. So suppose let's say you have been given a project in your company where you have millions of data points in a data frame or in a Excel file, right? So your job is to find out all the positive even numbers in a particular column. Okay, and you have to do this. You have 100 columns. You have to check this for each column. If there is any negative value in your data set or Excel file, that column will be filtered out. Okay, this is just an example I'm giving you. So in that case, what you need to do, you just define a function like this and pass all the columns here in one line. Okay, now this is just for one column. You can write a for loop with your logic to run this code, this single line in every column and filter out all the negative numbers. Just a common example that I'm giving you. You can utilize in various situations. Making sense,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this filter function is simply used to find the positive and negative numbers, like in various ways, the positive even numbers, positive odd numbers, like that.
No, that is one of the example. You can
Okay.
utilize. So this function, So if you have something condition to check, suppose this is greater than or not, one number is greater than the other number or not, that you want to check. That is also one condition. So as per your requirement inside your organization, what you need. So the thing is, you have been giving you are being given the raw mod here. Now it's up to you how you are going to make the vessel.
Okay.
Making sense, right? So this enumerate, filter, what we have seen, these are the small functions which is going to make our life easier. So instead of writing this much line, I can, if I know there is a filter function, we can who can do the same thing, right? So instead of writing this lines, I can use
Yeah,
filter and
Ashish,
attribute.
sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ashish, one thing, if we were to use the for loop in the filter function, how would it look? Can you just show us with an example? Like how you mentioned the Excel sheet data thing, right? So if you
Yeah,
were to use a
for that, when we see how to analyze data using Excel, that time you'll have a basic idea. Like you have to have an Excel file, then you can read the Excel data from the file. So don't worry, you have some dedicated classes for that, sessions for that. Okay, so if I'm going to show you that, then it will consume another half an hour, which will get delayed. So no worries. I got your question. What you want to know, because you we all all are working guys. So I know you want to apply this in your workspace. So please wait there. When how to import Excel file, catch the data from the Excel file using Pandas library data frame. Then so this all the things we are going to use there also. Some examples we have where we can use filter, map function, okay, and other functions also, like what we are going to see here. Okay, can you see at that time?
Ashish, if I execute the same code in GUI IDE, I'm not getting the positive integers. I mean positive numbers. I'm just getting the list from -10 to 9.
So have you defined the function?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And have you used filter function over there?
Yes. Yeah. I use the same code.
Can you share your screen once?
Actually, I joined through phone and then I'm executing through laptop. Maybe I'll send you the snapshot of that.
Okay. Okay. So no risk. Maybe some mistakes, or can you check whether you have selected Python 3?
Python, yeah, I enabled Python 3.
Okay. Maybe some issues that we need to check. Okay, without having a look, it will be difficult to tell what is happening.
So I'll send you the snapshot.
Yeah, you send the snapshot. Oh, someone is asking. Okay, I'm not seeing the chart as well. Can you explain what actually return function will do? So see, return is not a function here. Return is a clause here. Okay, like for, if. So this is an inbuilt word inside Python. So when you write for, if, else, and return, if you see the color is going to change into pink, right? So that means it is predefined inside Python. So that means every function has an input and an output that we know, right? So when you pass the input, you have to get the output, and this return is helping you to return the required output for you from the function. Okay, so every function will be having a return statement. Now if you won't give this return, then what is the default value this function is going to pass? Can you, so suppose I will comment this out, this function, then can
Ashish,
you
you
just,
forgot to share your screen, I think.
oh sorry sorry guys. Okay, sorry, just a minute, let me save. Okay, so some snapshot also you are saving, right? Let me quickly check what snapshot is. Can you see my, okay, you are not able to see the snapshot that I'm opening now?
No.
Oh, okay. Maybe, just a minute. Positive number list, filter, find positive number. So can you see, have you defined find positive number anywhere? Find positive number function you have not defined, right? You need to define that first. You have to tell the system that find positive number is a function which is going to help us in filtering. Right? So that's why it is showing the whole list. You have to define the find positive number first. Okay, how to close this? Who said this? Karthik, right? Karthik. So if you see my screen here.
Yeah, I got it. Sorry, I didn't define the find positive numbers. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, so my question is, if I want this return statement, what the value this function is going to give me? To answer this, what is the right thing to do? Test it, right? Now, if I won't give anything in the return statement, it is giving me what? Nothing, none value, right? So
Because we are not printing, we are not returning, right? That's right.
Yeah, so every function should be either some return value or some printing functions that you want to print, or some message that you want to. So every function expects something in return. So that's why we use this return. Okay, so we asked these questions about return. I think now it is clear.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, guys. So this is just one example. Let's go to other one. It is called a map. Okay, map function. So map function and filter function is bit of similar, but there is a small difference here. What is the small difference here? Now, when you are going to use map, okay, when you are going to use map, again you have to pass two parameters like filter function. Okay, what is the first parameter? A function that is going to help you out to map. So the name itself suggesting whenever you have some task in hand, you have to choose based on your task which function you are going to use. Whether you are filtering out something, then filter function. Whether you want to map a function to each items in the iterable. What does that mean? Now again I define a function here. If you see what this function is doing, this function is called power of 2, right? So power of 2 function will take one argument and it will return the power of the 2 of that number. Okay, so this is my default or custom function that I am building. Now I am going to use this function inside the map function, and first parameter will be this function. Now, can you tell me what is the basic difference that you are seeing here from filter and map? Because the logic is same here, right? The answer lies on the custom function we wrote. Now here,
What's your question, Ashish?
So what is the difference here? So we in filter function, when we use filter function, we defined a custom function which is returning some value. Here also we define a custom function which is returning some value. Again, in filter function, we are using filter. We are using first argument as the function, and second argument as the iterable. That is this list, right? This list. Yeah. So then, what is the difference between map and filter?
Actually, so
Filter will return Boolean, but this doesn't return a Boolean number.
Right. So you got it right. So now, if you see here, the custom function you have written, that is returning a number, not a Boolean value. So here the answer lies, that you need to keep in mind. This is a conceptual thing here. When you are using a map function, the first parameter will be a custom function. That custom function should return a value, not a conditions or Boolean value. Returns a integer type value or something like that, not a Boolean value. So Boolean value will be returned only when you are checking the condition. And when we check the condition, when we are filtering out something, whether this is greater than something or positive or negative. When condition checking is there, then you are writing a custom function and using filter. But in map function, you are not filtering out. You are going to store all the elements. That means whatever number list we have with 4 elements, the output also would be with 4 elements. That means you are going to map this custom function to each element of this list or iterable. You are not reducing the size of this original list, but in filter we are reducing the or filtering out the unnecessary part as per our condition, which is, that means we have how many numbers here? Minus 10 to 10, but we got this many, right? So filter out. But here we are mapping to each element. That means take each element from the iterable, pass it to the custom function, and it will do what? It will do power of 2. So this is num to the power 2, right? So 1 to the power 2, 1, 2 to the power 2, 4, 3 to the power 2, 9, right? Like this, it will return and map this logic to each element. Okay. And once we do that, this is going to be your output. Now, without using map, how to write it? This one. Okay. This is my iterable. This is a list. This is the empty list where I want to store the squared elements. Okay. For num in numbers, I ran a for loop, okay, to each element, and I am going to add by making the square to this empty list. So if you want to use the map function, or if you don't want to define this function, okay, you can use this line of code. But you should be clear about what is the difference between map and filter over here. Am I making sense? Any query on this? On the map one?
You are giving a list right here. Actually, so input is a list. It can be an integer also, single digit number also, right? For that,
Where here?
Power of 2 for the function power of.
Here.
Yes, that so it will take input as a integer also, right?
It is taking the input as an integer. Okay, maybe you are getting confused here. So see, this is the custom function that we defined previously. Like initially you have to define this custom function. What is this function is telling you? This function will take one value as argument, and it will make power of 2 for that number that you input. So so here we are passing only one number only, not many numbers. Are you getting it? This is only one number. So by defining this function here, we are utilizing this function inside map function as the first argument. So that means map function is writing a for loop for us and iterating over each item in the iterable and passing that item to this function, right? So here we mentioned the function. Please take 1 minute to understand, okay? Don't be in hurry, because these are like conceptual things, and you need to understand it, how this is working, because then only your logical thinking will improve in coding. So again, I'll explain. This is a function which takes one input and returning you to the power of that number. One input as a number and returning to the power of that number. This function. Now I want to apply every single element from the list to this function. How to achieve that? Either using a for loop, run a for loop like here. If you see here, learn a for loop, for each item, okay, and pass and convert that item to square. And after getting converted, you add that to a list. And at last, you print the list. Same thing we are achieving here. We are calling the map function. Okay. First argument, we are passing a function which will take one input number and generate its power of 2. And second argument, we are passing as a list. And the numbers are going to get from here, from the list, each element. Okay. So it is creating the for loop in the background and iterating over each element or each number and passing that number to this function. For us, we need not to do it. It is doing in this single line. We just need to define this function only. What we need to apply, whether we need to apply power of 2, power of 3, or product or something else. But the thing is, when using map, this function is returning a value, not Boolean value, returning an integer value. That is the main difference you need to understand here between map and filter. Okay.
And Ashish, like on the for loop stuff for the same thing was there, right? You have written square dot append. So like instead of writing a square dot append, do we able to write as a squared num star 2, and in the print statement, do we able to append it like in the print statement itself? Is it will throw an error else?
So you mean to say here what you need
Instead
to
of
do?
appending there in the print statement, is it possible to append it?
Okay.
Like I'm asking directly print.
Okay, so this you can write as like this. This you can write as this. Like the power. Suppose I am giving a variable called power. Now what is the power it will do? It will
Num star 2.
2. Okay. Then in the second line, you can do what? Squared dot append dot power. Okay, this will also do the same thing. Just I'm just being concise. Like what I did, instead of initializing this value with a variable, I directly appended here. So instead of writing power, I wrote num to the power 2.
No, what I'm asking is in the print statement itself, we can directly able to append it. I'm asking, like in the print statement, we have written print square, right? So instead of that print square dot append, like that, do we able to do?
No, see what is happening. So why we write a print statement to print something, right? But
yeah.
So this is running a loop for each element and adding to the empty list. So if you okay, I got it. So you mean to say like this, right?
Yeah.
But this is outside of the for loop.
Okay.
Are you getting it?
We don't need to create that empty list. We can directly print the output.
We need not to create this empty list, right? That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, let's not create it. So if you want to create the empty list, then where you are going to store after doing the power?
You can directly print at the num variable, right?
Yeah. So see, printing is a different thing, and storing the data into it is a different thing. I am storing this in a list.
Yes.
Okay. I got
it. That's why you are storing that.
Correct. So suppose you are being asked like change the value and show me the list, contain a list and show me the list, right? So print statement is just printing. It is not storing anywhere. It is just to visualize. So I got your question, guys. So here you are saying like instead of doing this, instead of appending, let's print it out, right? Sorry.
Directly we can print.
So what I need to write here? Can you tell me if I just want to print without adding this to a list? Num. So here print power. Same thing, right? So power is the variable which is containing the number to the power 2.
Here we don't need the variable, right? Power. Directly we can
Yeah.
apply the print function to the num, the condition num into 2, right?
Correct. You can do that. You can do that. But this is like, this will be an understandable thing. Like suppose this calculation is bit complex, right? It is simple. That's why it is easy to understand. Suppose the calculation would be a bit complex. There, if we'll directly pass this, then it will be a not good user readable. So to make this user readable, we are
But
storing the
we will
mathematical.
consider it, and within 2 lines we can complete that.
Correct. 2 lines also we can complete it like this. This one, right? You are saying, right?
Yes.
So this is just 2 line. Okay, this is just 2 line. And here also we'll get the same result. But here you are just printing the results. You are not storing it somewhere in the memory.
Yeah, if you want to use that value again, and we can store. Otherwise, if you don't need
Correct.
that,
Correct. So just to add one more point here, in case when you started learning how to deal with CSV file and all, okay, there this list will be your one column, right? So if you capture the data in a list, you can add this data in the Excel or CSV files one column, right? That's why we kept this in a container or iterable, right? So this iterable, you can directly make a column where the column value will keep 1 2 3 4, or this squared value 1 4 9 6. In one column this 4 values, in one column this 4 values. For that you have to keep it somewhere, either in the list or in tuple or something like which will contain the value. But this is just to print. Making sense, right? Anything else? Okay. Now I hope like bit of understanding. It will, you are going to get it eventually. Don't worry. Once you started understanding the logic, how Python code is being written, then it will be. So now one more function, actually it was inbuilt inside Python 2, but in Python 3 they removed this function. Now it is in an external library. It is not inbuilt. But again, I'll tell you this function. So what it is doing, this reduce function. So this is a reduce function that you are importing from a library called function tools. Okay, here what you are doing, you are defining. Now you have to understand what is the difference between, you have to tell me, okay, you have to tell me what is the difference between multiple and reduce function and map function. How? Suppose we define a function called multiply, which will take 2 arguments x and y, and it will return the product of that 2 arguments. Okay, now can you tell me what is the type of data it is returning?
An integer.
Integer, float, anything, like not a Boolean value, just a number, either it is an integer or float, anything, a real number, right? Now what I want to get the product from this iterable. What does that mean? 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. That means my input will be a list and my output should be a single number, one number, which will be the product of all the elements. Now how to achieve that using a for loop without using any reduce function or any function? You have to initialize a product variable, yeah, and the list, this is the list, okay, and I will iterate over the list. Then what I'm going to do, product equal to
number,
product into number. So this is what I need to do if I want to get the whole product of this list, right? But using a custom function like this, which will take 2 parameters and do the multiplication, and using a reduce function, we can achieve the same using one line. Something is not defined. We have not defined the list yet. Okay. So if you see here, what is happening again? The reduce function is taking two parameters. First argument or parameter is the custom function, which is taking two parameters and multiplying them. Now what will happen? This reduce function will apply this multiply function on each two elements. That means first it will do what? 1 into 2, right? 1 into 2 will be a 1 value. What is the value? 2.
2.
Then how many elements left? 2, 3, 4.
2. Yep.
2, 3, 4. Then again, this reduce function apply multiplication to that list. Now the list contains 2, 3, 4. Now 2 and 3 is going to be multiplied. What is the value now? 6.
6.
So the list will be reduced to 6 and 4 in the second iteration. How many elements will be there in the list? 6 and 4. And in the final step, again it will be 6 into 4, that is 24. So this custom function is taking two arguments. This 2 will be first passed to this custom function because of the reduce. Now the name itself is suggesting you when to use what. So when to, now can you tell me what is the use of reduce here? How can you use in the practical life or in your real life scenario? When to use?
In aggregate operation.
In aggregate operation. In aggregate operation, in the sense, you mean to say you will group it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone?
Addition and the multiplication.
Yes. Yeah. So whenever you want to get a single value as a mathematical operation on an iterable, like a single value that you want to generate, either multiplication, addition, subtraction, or add this number of all the columns, add the numbers in the columns, right? Whether you have millions of rows and all, you need not to worry about it. You just use this reduce function, define a small function like this, and write a one-liner, and it will do the things for you instead of going one by one to each element.
Ashish, could you please repeat that once again?
Okay, which part? This part?
This reduce function thing, like I can understand it. Like you have given an example that Excel works.
Okay. So suppose in the Excel file or CSV file, you have a column where you have to generate the total amount, right? In that column, like what is the total? Suppose sales column. You have a Excel file or CSV file which contains a sales column. You want to see total sales for particular month, right? So instead of going and adding each item in a calculator or each cell value in a calculator, you can take help of reduce function, and you can apply this reduce function. Now when we are going to learn about data frame, in data frame there is a function, inbuilt function, or what we can call method, okay, method called apply. So you can apply this whole thing into one particular column in CSV file or Excel file, which will give you the exact result. That means if you want the total cell, you have to define. So if you want to have the total cell, then can you tell me what is the modification I need to do in this function, custom function? I am doing the addition, right? So my custom function will be definition. That means define add function, which will take two arguments.
Yeah, x comma y, return
and
x
return, right?
X plus y, yeah.
So this is the, if you want to achieve that result, you have to define a small function like this, and you pass this small function into your reduce function and give the iterable. Now, what is the iterable in your CSV file or Excel file? The whole column. Okay, I think. So, sorry for my drawing here. So this is my CSV file. Okay, this is the column. Okay, now this column contains cells, right? Total cells, right? Some number of rows are there. You want to find the total cell here in this column, right? So now what is the iterable here?
The total cell.
Cells.
This total column. So this list, imagine this list is containing all the row value 1, 2, 3. So this is the cell amount. This is the total number of cells you did in each day, like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 here, 5, 6. So here you can add 5, 6, like this. So this list contains your column information, all the row information for that particular column cells. Now this column values or the row values in the column is become now your iterable. Now this iterable you can pass to this reduce function, define a custom function here, and pass this to a first argument, and it will give you. So this value will tell you the total cell. Making sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but it is going to be fun. This is just starting, guys. Okay, so once you start exploring other programming, and how once you started to playing with CSV file and all, you are going to get more idea. This is just the starting. Okay, now this is all about inbuilt function, guys. Okay, that's why I'm going very slow, because I know you guys are learning it from the scratch. And this inbuilt function is going to save our time and help us in coding. Now what is user defined function?
Which are defined by us like that, def,
What we
addition,
create.
multiplication, like that.
So this is the example of one user
Defined
function that we define based on our. So what is the advantages for that? User defined function help to decompose a large program into small segment, which makes program easy to understand, maintain, and debug. Okay, that means if any repetitive codes that you are going to use, you make that as a function and call that function every time you want to execute those piece of codes. Suppose one piece of code is iterating over each element in the list, and at last it is giving us the product or summation of that list. So if this is a repetitive work that you are going to do, so instead of write this 5 lines of code every time, you define a function for this and you use that function every time. No need to write. So suppose in Excel 1 you have to do the same, in Excel file 2 you have to do the same. Then you define a function overally and apply it both in Excel 1 and Excel 2. You need not to write it in Excel 1 and you need not to write it in Excel 2. So this is the advantages of user defined function, that those repetitive tasks that you are doing, you can put that, or you can define a function and write the function there and use that repetitive code in your day-to-day life.
So one question, Ashish here.
Yeah.
So we have discussed it of the map, filter, and reduce. What is the difference between these functions and the normal function? Is there any specific use case we have to apply this?
So the first difference is these are built-in functions.
Okay, that's
and
fine.
These are user-defined function. That is the first difference, right? And first of all, this inbuilt function, they have built this inbuilt function map, filter, and reduce to make our life easier, so that this will be a quick task, like a small quick lines of code that you can take help of, and you can get rid of this writing for loop and all. Okay, because as a DS guy you need to do so many things while you're going for data processing. So this is just one of the steps. So to make this step quicker, you use the built-in function and do the task rather than writing a for loop and do the task. Okay, that is the second difference. So this is how you need to keep in mind where to use map. But I hope you know where to use map and where to use filter, where to use reduce, right?
It depends upon our requirement. Okay.
Correct. Depends upon our requirement. That is the thing, because that's why I said, like, this is the, raw mode. From here you have to build your vessels. Okay. So, but I know, because you are grasping it quickly, guys. So just give it another 1 month. Spend another 1 month in coding. Do the codes from Codekata. Then I think these things will be like very easy for you. Okay. So the thing is, you need to spend time with it. That's all. Okay. Now, I'm not going to explain about this example. This is because this is easy and you will understand it. This one, Python program to make a simple calculator that can add, subtract, and multiply and divide. Okay. This is a small program. And why I have written this? Because this is called user-defined program, right? This is defined by us. We are writing this code. Now, to do this, what you need to do, this is the whole code, okay? I'll quickly explain it. Let me know if you have any doubt. So to do this, first I defined 4 functions. One is for add, one is for multiply, one is for subtract, one is for division. Right? And each function is taking 2 arguments. Add function is taking 2 arguments and returning a plus b. Multiply is taking 3 arguments and returning a into b into c. So what are the number of arguments and what is the output? That is you are defining here. You are responsible what these functions are taking as input and what is these are producing as output as per your business requirement. You are defining these custom functions. Right? Add, multiply, subtract, and division. So division also taking 2 numbers and giving you a by b. Now, once I define these functions, what is the next step? I need to make it a user friendly. So this is my small application. Okay, this is my small calculator application. I created one calculator application here. Okay, so what my application is doing, first of all, my application will tell you that select the option what you want to choose: addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. First it will ask this information from you. To do that, you printed out this statement: select option. 1 is for addition, 2 is for subtraction, 3 is for multiplication. This information you pass to the user. Now once this information shown on the screen of the user, then user has to choose something. Either if he wants to 1, 2, 3, or 4, addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, right? This is once this message is displayed, you have to give an option to user to input a user value, either 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now how to take the input of user? By defining by defining a variable which is going to store our user choice, either 1 or 4 or 2 or 3. So this choice will be an input. In Python, what we mean by input? That means user need to enter a value. So while giving this input in the screen, user will be chosen this option. Like this will create a empty text box and expecting some user to put something, either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Okay, if you will print 5, then we have not written the code to handle it. This is a just small code. Okay, don't think like this is a proper application which is running. So he has to choose. Okay, user has to choose between 1 to 4. He can't choose apart from 1 to 4. Okay, that is the condition we gave to user. So this is a user input, and it is being stored in the variable called choice. Right? Now, once the choice is decided, that means either user wants to go for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, right? Now, based on the condition, so I think I have changed something. This ABC should not be there. I think in my previous batch, someone was asking, so I made these changes. So all my functions are taking 2 inputs. Okay, that is how it defined. Okay, I defined 2 inputs. So once the user chose 1, 2, or 3, here we are giving another option to user to choose to input two numbers. Suppose users chose here 1. What does that mean?
Addition.
Right? So we'll ask user to give us two numbers so that we will add that for you. To achieve that, what you need, again, you have to ask this from user. Number 1 and number 2. Number 1 will be asked, enter the first number. User will enter the first number. Then enter the second number. User will enter the second number. Now you have all required data to implement your functions that you defined. That depends on the choice user made, right? If here user made the choice 1, that means here the choice is 1, then addition. Okay. If the choice is 2, then subtraction. If the choice is 3, then multiplication, like this. And if user choose anything, that also you can handle like invalid choice. And if the choice is 1, what we are doing here, we are printing a formatted string where we are saying addition of number 1 and number 2 is add function number 1 and number 2. Okay, sorry, I think we need to remove this. Okay, this is the recent formatting format. This is our old formatting format. I hope this you understand, right? This two formatting or print statement, the difference. Okay, now let's quickly run this and see. So first, as I said, a user screen is popping up and telling to select whether you want to go for addition, subtraction, or multiplication. And the choices are from 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose I give 1. After you give 1, you press enter. Okay. So once you press enter, that means the choice number is stored as what? 1. Enter the first number. I want 10. Then enter the second number. Then 20. Then if the choice is 1, what it is printing? Addition of number 1, addition of 10 and 20 is, we are calling the add function which we defined initially. Here, add function, because it is returning a plus b, right? It will take 2 arguments and it will return a plus b. And in the end result, addition of number 1 and number 2 is add function where we are passing 2 parameters. Now this function will return number 1 plus number 2, which is 30. Same if we'll choose 2, 3 and 4, same thing will happen, but here it will addition, here it will subtraction, multiply and division.
So in the print statement itself, you are calling the function, it seems, right?
Correct. That's the motive also, to make you understand that you can call the function inside a print statement as well.
Okay.
Okay, guys, any question? Please try to go through it. Please try to go through it. Okay, and try to understand these things what I've told you. Again, we took so much time for this one thing. It's 10:15. Okay, so any question? Again, let it be. I'm not worried about the topics now, because if you like, as per your requirement, will go. I don't know. So by this time, I would have go for session 5 for other batches. But yeah, as you guys are starting the scratch, that's why I'm going slow. Okay. So any question in this? Anything at all? Or we'll go to the next.
I'm sorry, we'll go to the next. We'll go to the next.
The next. Okay. Okay. So lambda function. Now this is also. See, don't worry about these files, guys. This file will contain small information. Okay, maybe it's like so many number of files, but if you can see, this is just this much. Okay, please don't worry. So this lambda function is also another lifesaver for you when you are going for data analysis or data pre-processing steps, where you need to do a lot of work. Now, once you do an end-to-end project at your last of this course, you will get to know what the things you need to do. Okay, so there, these concepts and this function is going to save your time. That is the motive here. Okay, now what is lambda function? This is also called as an anonymous function. Why it is an anonymous function? Because this is not the traditional function, how we write a traditional function with a def word, then the name, then the colon, then write the logic inside after the colon. So these things we are not going to do. Instead of that, we'll use lambda function. Now here I want to add one more point. Lambda function is not like you have to use it in a complex situation. It is just to make simple task, which is like you are writing so many things at a time in a function by defining the function, defining the parameter, okay, writing the mathematical operation x into y, x plus y, without doing that in a separate line. This will help you to write the code in a concise way or in a precise way. Okay, so let's see how this is working. So have I missed anything? Lambda function are used extensively along with the built-in function like filter and map. Okay, now we'll see the example here. Now, first of all, what is the syntax of lambda function? What is the syntax to write a custom function? Def, then function name, then parameter like this, then whatever parameter or argument you are going to pass, that you need to write
Then the
here.
return value.
Okay, a return value like this. This is the syntax for lambda function. What is it? Like you need to write lambda. If you, as soon as you write lambda, you can see the color of that word, right? It changed like def. So that means it's a lambda function. So this is by default. This is inbuilt in Python. Lambda. Okay. Then after that, you define the input or the argument. Now this is the argument, then colon, then the output. So what I need, I need to make it the power of 2. So if I write a define statement, how should I return it?
X power of 2. Yeah.
Same thing, but here we are using a lambda function, and here you can pass any number of parameters. Suppose x comma y comma z. Okay, and in the return you want what? X plus y plus z. So what does this mean? It means this is a function, lambda function, which will take 3 parameters x, y, z and return sum of that 3 parameters, x plus y plus z. Okay, now let's try to understand with example. Okay, so now suppose what I want, I want double of a number. That means I want to take an input and I will multiply that with 2. How to write that? So now lambda function takes the input x and give us the output 2x. And we are storing this function in a variable called double. Now, can you tell me what is the type of this variable? What is the D type? So to know that, can we write like this?
Is it integer type?
It is a decimal number, but I think the storage will be more, so double.
Correct. Correct. So here, if I give the type, then what I am going to get an integer. But I am talking about without passing any argument, what is the type of double? So here this is an integer, right? Because we passed. So suppose what I'm asking, what is the type of POUBLE? What should be the type of this? Shall we see?
String.
Function. That means we are creating a function using lambda function. So this is nothing but this is like this. Okay, this is a function. We defined a function, but in this way, using a lambda function. But here, if you see, we have to write so many things here. Just call the lambda and x into 2. Okay. Now this is a empty or silo function. Sorry.
Double is a variable name.
Variable name, but that so when I say variable is a empty cell, right? And in the empty cell you can put integer, string, function. So it is upon my choice, right?
Here you are assigning a function to the variable.
Correct. So that's why if you see here, the type of this variable is a function. Now how to utilize this? You have to utilize this like this. Double, then you have to pass a parameter or argument. Why? Because you define this function as a lambda function which takes the input x and returning 2x. So now if we run this, it will be what? 10.
So if we were using a lambda function, are we supposed to use it with a double, like which is an empty function, or we can use it with any other
So
variables which
double is
we
not a function here. This is just a name of variable.
Okay.
Name. This is not a okay. I think you guys got a bit confused about double. So here this is the variable. So I can change anything. I can take my name also. Okay. So this is just a name, but this variable is containing the function information like this. Now in place of this, I can use 5. So that means this variable now contain 5, right? Similarly, instead of 5, I assigned a function there, and once I assign the function, I can use that variable now as a function by giving a argument or parameter.
Okay. So we were changing the variable itself as a function. So if
Correct.
whatever I mentioned, so that lambda will help us to create the variable as a function.
Correct.
Okay.
So because we assign this function, now we are making this variable act as a function, and we can pass the argument here, and the output can be printed over here. Okay. And let's try with an example with filter. The combination of filter function and lambda function. This is going to be fun, guys. Okay, let's see. This is the list or my iterable, right? I want to filter it out the even function, even numbers. What should I do? If I don't use lambda, I define a custom function, right? And I'll check the condition whether this is divided by 2 or not. If yes, I will consider that as an even number. Now, without defining a function in our previous file to check a condition, you can use a lambda function. So if I'll break this out, or I will remove this. So this function this is the lambda function. Without writing any custom function, using one line, within one line, I wrote a function. Now, if I want to write a custom function, what should I do? def, then even, okay, it will take one parameter x, then condition check if x modulo 2 equal to 0, then return the number. But using lambda function, I achieved it with one line. So this function, this lambda function is helping me by saying like, okay, it will take one argument, and in the output, it will check whether it is divisible by 2 or not. Now, can you tell me what is the output of this lambda function? What's the data type?
Integer.
An integer.
Please rethink about it. This is a condition we are checking.
Function.
No, this is whole as a function, but the output of this
Okay, condition, right? So
condition,
is it Boolean?
Boolean value. Now, why I said this? Because if you remember when to use filter function, when the output of the custom function is returning Boolean data, right? So that's why I used filter here, because filter function will take two parameters. First is the functions to be applied. Second is the iterable. Now this function to be applied should be returning a Boolean value by checking the condition. Are you getting my point? So this function, this piece of line is returning a Boolean D type. And this condition we are checking for each element of this iterable. And how to achieve this? Using the filter function. Now this is within one liner, we achieved so many things without writing a custom function. Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
So that's why these things are going to save your time when you're going for lots of analysis or data pre-processing. Because as a data scientist, our job is to spend at least 60 to 70% of our time on data processing. Because because if you don't have the required data or pre-processed data, you're not going anywhere. You can't put that in the model. If your data is not pre-processed properly, then the model is going to throw the error, or the model will give you false prediction in future. The prediction value will be very inaccurate, the accuracy will be decreased, right? So that's why this small Python codes and inbuilt function is going to save of your time, because here we achieve the same result that we seen in our previous notes with one line. Okay, and these things you also apply to the data frame or Excel file or CSV file. That also you are going to see. Okay, again, how we use this with map? Can you think of in filter? Can you think of how to use in map? So map function expects a function which returns what data type? Not Boolean, any number or a value, right? So that's why I define a lambda function here, which will take x as input and make the power of 2. And I pass this function in a map function. First argument is this, and second argument is the iterable. Now I achieve the same thing again with another one line, if you recollect. Because here we are not defining this logic in a different custom function. We are writing this logic inside the lambda function. So lambda function is created for this kind of calculations only. Small calculation for which you need to write a custom function and do such things. Don't write. Use a lambda function and make it precise.
Sir, it is basically used for mathematical operations, not for anything like strings. We cannot operate. Use lambda
we
functions.
can do that. We can do that. Suppose you have a very good question, really very good question. So suppose you have a data frame or Excel file. In one column you have first name, in one column you have second name. You have to create a column which contains first name plus second name. Then how you are going to define X, then Y, then it should be X plus Y. This you are going to define, but here the input parameter should be what? String. So when I say Asis, right? So this is my string. Then my surname, right? When I do like this, what is the output I'm getting? First name plus last name, right? So you have to make sure you have to pass a string value here in the lambda function. So that means your iterable should be containing what? The string value. So based on your requirement also, you will be able to do. No risk, because you are going to explore this when this lambda function, map function, and filter function more in detail when we'll go for data frame. Okay, pandas data frame. There we'll understand it properly. I can promise you. Okay, even if I won't, if I won't take the session, but the session modules are there. Anyone can, you are going to get through this. Okay, don't worry. Same thing I did for reduce, if you remember, reduce using lambda function. So I didn't predefine any function, rather than I used lambda function, which will take 2 input parameter and it will do the product x into y. Same thing, if you remember, 120 was the value, right? But for that we have wrote so many lines of code, but here just this line of code and our work is done. Making sense, right, guys? Any question? Okay, let's move next. What is the list comprehension? Now this is also one very, so today's session actually very helpful. It is going to be very helpful for you in future. We are going to understand that. Okay, list comprehension. This is also one of the important logic or fundamental thing that you need to understand, because you are going to deal with list and tuple a lot in your DS career journey. Okay, and there, so these things are your time saver. Okay, and you should write less number of codes for this. That's why this concept you need to know. List comprehension. Now what is a list comprehension? It is a concise way to create a list in Python. It is commonly used to create a list of the same type of data using a for loop and an expression that generates the element of that list. For example, you can use list comprehension to create a list of squares of numbers from 1 to 10 like this. So what does this mean? I want to create a list of numbers from 1 to 10, but what? But the power of 1 to 10. Power of 2 for 1 to 10. That means a list with 1, 4, 9, 16, right? Like this. Now I can achieve that using a single line. And I'll let you know, I'll make you understand how this works. So first of all, what we are doing here, we are taking numbers from 1 to 10 through the range function, 1 to 10. And what we are doing, take 1 to 10. If the number is greater than 5, make the square. I have not completed my explanation here. Just you giving a rough idea what is happening. Range from 1 to 10. If iterate over the range from 1 to 10, and if you found the number is greater than 5, make power of 2 for that number. That means starting from 6 to 10, right? From 6 to 10, do the square of all the numbers and add it in a list. Now let's skip this. Okay, let's try to understand in a traditional way. If I need to achieve that, what I need to do, I have to define as, because my objective is to store the values in a list, right? So for that I have to initialize this with an empty list. I created an empty list to store the values. I'm not going to print it. I will directly store this. So squares old equal to empty list. Then I ran a for loop for I in range 1 to 11. That means 1 to, so we are considering the number from 1 to 10. This is clear, 1 to 10. Now, if the number is greater than 5, then append inside the list. Append what? I to the power 2.
Sir, why we converting the I power 2 into string, sir, in the squares new?
This is just our requirement. If you don't want to do also, this is fine.
Okay.
Okay, this is just fine. So okay, so I think that was I made because of I was making someone understand. Okay, so you need not to make this is a string. This is just the number. Okay, but if you see here, this is the traditional way you need to achieve this. Squares old. Okay, but this is called least comprehension, and you are without writing these things, you wrote everything in a single line, and all these things achieved inside this. How? I'll let you know. Okay, so first of all, if you understand this for loop, for I in range 1 to 11, which is our this line, right? And if I greater than 5, which is our this, if I greater than 5, then do what? I to the power 2. But the order will be a bit different here, that you need to understand. So that's why I'm making you understand in a way that you will understand. You need not to remember I to the power 2 would be written here. You can leave this part. You can start writing from for if I greater than 5, then what you need, then so this value will be the result that you need. The result that you need after the if condition satisfied. That should be at your first thing. Okay, and you are putting this inside a list only. So you need not to define an empty list and append the things. It will do this automatically for you because you are right. So that's why it is called list comprehension. You are creating all this stuff inside a list only. And if you see here, if I'll run the code and print so this list and this list will be same. Starting from 6 to 10, we are powering it up. And if you can see here, the results are same, isn't it? But this is the old way or traditional way. This is using list comprehension. Isn't it cool?
Okay, so
Ashish, can you please repeat this once again because I've lost somewhere, I think.
Sure. Okay, network issue had, is it? Okay.
I think I had a network issue so that I can't catch it that much. Like there is a
No
lot
worries.
of breaks and stuff. Yeah.
No worries. I'll let you know once again. So again, this part you understood what we are doing here.
I can see that coding was what happening over there. I understand this, like that list comprehension thing, like that first line I was not understanding. That second line, I totally get it. Like you are iterating and then appending into a list. That is totally, I can get it. That first line and that list compensation is what is all about. That part where I've lost.
Got it. So if you understand this, then now it will be easy for you to understand. So if you see here, for I in range 1 to 11, that we are writing in here. For I in range 1 to 11, then the if condition, if I greater than 5, that we are writing here. If I greater than 5, then whatever the result, we are doing I to the power 2. And that you should, so what you need, what mathematical operation you need after you filter it out based on your condition, that you need to write at first. So this means for I in range 1 to 11, if I is greater than 5, do I to the power 2. But that you need to write at first. And that's how it works in list comprehension.
Okay.
Okay, so don't worry guys, because this is not going to be over. Like this is just starting by using list comprehension. The more you are going to use list comprehension, the more comfortable you are going to be.
So that list compensation syntax is worked in that way. Like we have to initialize a variable and then the condition what we are gonna give in the loop and then the loop statement.
Correct. In this way. So list comprehension always used in a iterable or in a for loop kind of situation where you need not to write the loop in a separate line or something. Using list comprehension, you can write the loop here for I in range 1 to 11 and condition when this is greater than 5. Then whatever result you get after satisfying this condition, you make the square
Mhm.
and add to the list.
Okay,
whole
so after
list.
the 6 only, the loop is going to work, right?
Yeah, so this is our, like, for example, we did
Yeah.
that. This is based on your requirement. What is your
Mhm.
condition?
Okay.
Okay. So let me see whether we have, yeah. So see another example. Let's try to understand with another example. The list comprehension allows you to create lists in a more concise and readable way. And it can also be used to perform operation on the elements of the list, such as filtering or transforming the data. And what does that mean? Suppose what I need, please watch it carefully. What happens? This is the number of list. Okay. What I want to do, all the, if x divisible by 2, that means I'm looking for even
Boolean
number.
value. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. So this condition will give you a Boolean value. If this is true, then it will store the number. That means it is looking for what? It is looking for the even number, right? So it is looking for the even number. So that is your first if condition. Okay. If x divided by 2, the remainder is 0, you are going to keep that number as a true. Else, another condition, else x to the power 2. So see, it is going to store x if this is divisible by 2, else it is going to store x to the power 2 if it divisible by 3. Just to give you example, if the number divisible by 2, you want to keep that number from here. If the number is divisible by 3, you want to square that number. Okay. Else you do the negative of that number. Did you get the requirement here before going to understand the list comprehension? So what are requirement? Again, I will summarize. This is a number from 1 to 10. I want to keep the numbers in a list where the numbers which is divisible by 2, I will keep the number as it is. That is the even number. If the number from here is divisible by 3, I will keep by making power of 2. Now suppose 3 is there, which is divisible by 3, then I will make it 9. 4 is not divisible by 3, right? 5 is not divisible by 3. 6 is divisible by 3, right? So 6 means I will
Yeah.
make it what?
You will
And
make it
36.
okay.
Right. So I'm not sure what is happening. Just let me run this. Okay, we'll see what is happening in the result. So else if doesn't divisible by 3 and 2, then make it minus x. Okay, so 6 is not divisible by 3, is it? Why it is not making 2?
I think consider first take argument by which is divisible by 2.
Okay. No worries. So, see, before understanding this, let's try to understand in a traditional way what is happening, because this is a nested if else condition. Nested means there is multiple if else condition. If we do achieve the same thing, what we need to do? I have to define a empty list, right? Numbers and a empty list. Right?
Actually, we have one doubt here. So in the list comprehension, there is if else. We need to use the elif, right?
So here in list and comprehension, you can't use a elif. Only else and if. So this elif, instead of elif, you write else. Okay, that is also a good catch here. So that's why I'm making you understand the traditional way first. So this is the traditional way. Okay, for x in numbers, that means iterating over each number. If the number is divisible by 2, then append it to the list. Okay, and if the number is divisible by 3, then append it by making the square. But I am not.
But actually, we are not getting the output we want, right? But the 6 is coming, right?
So that's what I am also.
Ashish, like 6, right? 6 is divisible by 2. So in if condition only it is getting satisfied. So it is printing the result as it is.
See, great, guys, great. So you are like, yeah, catching it. So the first condition itself, the 6 is getting satisfied, right? 6 is divisible by 2. That's why it got added. But we are thinking in a human way, but machine thinking in a logical way, right? So we said like first check this condition. If it is divisible by 2, then are the result as it is. If it is not, if this condition doesn't satisfy, then check this condition whether it is divisible by 3 or not. If that satisfy, then make the square and append to the list. Right? If this both the condition doesn't satisfy, if though the condition don't satisfy, then use minus x and add to the list. So one doesn't divide, like one not divided by 2 and 3, so -1.
-1.
2 is divided by 2, so 2
Yeah,
same
the
as
first
it is.
condition is itself.
So
got
3 doesn't divided by satisfied by 2, but divided by 3, that's why 9. Right? 4 is divisible by 2, that's why 4. 5 is neither divisible by 2 nor divisible by 3, so that's why -5. But if you observe now what is our requirement, that we all understood, right? But let's try to understand the least comprehension here. X, if x is divisible by 2, else, so instead of elif, I'm writing else again, right? Because elif you can't use inside a least comprehension. You can't write, huh? No, you can't write. You can't write. Okay, expected else after if, that means elif you won't be able to use, but else you can use instead of elif. Okay, else x to the power 2. See the process here. X squared minus x. These three things you are storing. Condition is x if x is divisible by 2, else x squared if x is divisible by 3, else minus x if x is not satisfying this 2 condition. So without writing this much code, just one liner, we achieve the same result. The only thing you need to do is to do some practice using list comprehension. That's all. Now, once you do the practice and get the idea out of it, then I think you will save so much time, isn't it? Like see, this is the traditional way, and this is how you can write within a single line. Okay, do we have any other example? Okay, so list comprehension is clear to you, or still in any query here?
No, why we are using elif and why you are using else?
Here.
Yes. No, in the list comprehension we are using the both else, right? If else, if else. We are not using elif, right?
So that means like the syntax for list comprehension doesn't support elif. The syntax for list comprehension support only else. So instead of elif, you write else. This is how they designed list comprehension. The syntax is like that. Okay. So because we are learning a new language, right? So they have certain rule on their own. They have written something. So they made like if you are using list comprehension, you can't use elif. Maybe in the later on, like in the updated version in Python, they will enable this feature where you can use elif. Maybe. But as of now, this is the syntax. Any other query?
Yeah, and Ashish, like, could you please give the differentiation between this elif and else?
Yeah, sure. So when you have multiple conditions to check, you first write if. If that condition doesn't satisfy, then you write another condition. Suppose you have a third condition, you want to check whether the number is divisible by 5 or not. How to write that? Elif x &5 equal to 0, then result dot append, then what you need to do with x? 2x, 2 into x. Okay, so this is another condition. If something is divisible by 5, so the more the conditions you have, the more the
Okay,
L is.
so the elif is actually used for like what I'm understanding is like the elif is something for one if condition. As per the syntax, we able to write one else. With the help of elif, we can able to write n number of else
Conditions.
statement to one if statement. Correct.
Correct. So
Get it.
so how this works? It will check first this condition. If this doesn't satisfy, then it will go to here. That's why we saw 3 is equal to 2, like 6 is equal
Yeah,
to.
that I can totally understand. Like I'm just asking the difference between these two. Now I can get it. Like for one if statement, if you want to write one like 2 or more else statement, we have to use elif, right?
Correct. So
Get it.
the thing is, if you have multiple conditions, keep in mind in this way, if you have multiple conditions to check one by one, you can achieve this with if and elif. So this is the first condition, right? So if I interchange this logic here with here, what will be the consequence? If I'll remove x percentage 2 with x percentage 3, just interchange these two lines. What is the difference it is going to make?
What are you asking?
Suppose I interchange this x percentage 2 with x percentage 3.
Okay. So you're saying that you're going to change the condition of that x
Condition,
modulo 2.
just interchange, like okay, like
Yeah,
this.
it'll start to give the different.
So
If
it will check this condition first.
yeah,
If this doesn't satisfy, then it will
then
go to
go
this
for the
condition.
second. Yeah.
Okay. Any other
Totally.
thing, guys? Any other thing that you want to know about list? Okay, I saw people started leaving. I know you guys are have to go for work, but yeah, give me another 10 minutes, please. Those who are leaving for the office, I will suggest you, please, at least, because these recordings are there, right? If you are missing 10 to 15 minutes, last 10 to 15 minutes, please get some time to watch this last 10 to 15 minutes, right? If you are leaving early, right? Okay, so now let's quickly, guys, let me finish actually this part, or else it will be like, so function arguments. Okay, function arguments, this is also one important thing to digest here. What is fun? So you all know about function arguments, okay? Because you are going to get it quickly, because we know what is a function, what is argument, what is how to write print and all. Now, what do we mean by arguments, and what type of arguments we can pass inside a function? So when I define a function with two arguments here called a name and a message, okay, the name and the message, then how many arguments I am passing? Two.
Yeah.
Okay, and there is a constant, and if you call this function, suppose the name you have given Govind and the message you print good night, right? So what you need to do, and what is this function is returning? This is a print statement. It is returning with a format name and message, hello, name and the message. Okay, and if you run this function with a grid statement, if you call this function with a parameter or argument Govind and good night, this telling. Now if I'll change to Govind 1, again it will going to change, right? Govind, hello Govind 1 and good night. This is understandable, right? This is simple. Now suppose I will pass only one argument. What will happen? It will tell me that, boss, you defined a function with two arguments. Now you are passing only one argument. So I am not going to execute this. Okay, and you get a type error, missing one required positional argument. Now the question is, suppose a function have, default argument. What is default argument? That means even if you pass this argument in your function, it is going to work. Here, if you pass one argument, it is it threw the error, right? That you required one positional argument. But once you made some default argument, that here that means if I don't pass the message argument while calling the function, it is not going to throw me error because I made a default statement here. The default message I already put here, message equal to good morning. Okay, let me define this function again. Now, if you see, if I call this function with, so how many arguments are passing here? 2, right? But if I call this function with one argument, still it is going to work because there is a default argument is being passed while initiating or while writing the function. That is the message. So even if you call this function with only one argument, still it is going to work and showing you the hello, name and the message. Now message is here by default. Now suppose I initiate this kind of function. Now I want to change my message. What I need to do? I don't want to say good morning. I want to say good night. But I defined this function already. So here you pass the name and the required message. That will override the default message. Are you getting what I'm saying? So if you want your custom message to be displayed, you can pass that as an argument, and this will override the default message. So if you don't want good morning every time, you pass your required message, and here you will see what? Hello Chris, good night.
Yeah.
Understandable, easy to understand here. Now let's understand another type of arguments you can pass. Now suppose guys, let's here I am passing 2 arguments. Okay, here I am passing 2 arguments. Suppose I will pass I have multiple arguments. Okay, multiple parameters to be passed. I can't write those, right? So suppose 100 parameters. I am building a large application and one of my function contains 100 parameters or 100 arguments to be passed. So while defining the function, I'm not going to write, if I'm a developer, I'm not going to write 100 parameters here, right? So in that case, what you can do, there is a concept called, before I'm coming to keyword argument, this argument called arbitrary arguments. Okay, arbitrary arguments. That means use a single star and define some names or any, like this can be names or any character. That means this function is expecting multiple parameters. There is no bound. As much as can parameter you can pass to this function. So even if you have 100 parameters to be passed, I need to write them explicitly. I can mention like this. This is my grid function and star something, some names, or this means some arguments. You can say like args, star args. That means this has arguments. Okay, so args. So what is happening? The arguments you are going to pass, it is going to loop through it, the arguments, and based on, so what we are doing here, we are just taking the arguments and printing the arguments. Let's not print it. Let's print. Suppose I have arguments 1 or argument 2 arguments. Okay, what I'm going to do for name in args, that means I am iterating over the arguments that got passed, and this is going to be passed as a tuple. Okay, for name in arguments, print hello then name. So for example, I am taking 2 variable name 1 and name 2. Okay, where I'll take this as from user input. Okay, so suppose name 1 is your A, name B is, sorry, name 2 is B. Now what happened? I created 2 variables which contains A and B, right? Now I pass this 2 variable name 1 and name 2, and I got the statement hello A B. Now, what is happening? I have not defined the argument here, guys. Right? I have not defined the arguments here, guys. I just mentioned star args. Now, if I want a third name also, this is fine. If I name a fourth name also, this is fine. If I name 100 argument also, this is fine. This is going to work for me. I need not to explain here how many numbers of input you are going to pass. Suppose I have 100 arguments also, I can utilize this function by passing 100 value, but you have to make sure that you are writing the logic inside the function for name in the arguments. That means I am iterating over the argument. Okay, this is one example. Give me another 5 minutes, guys. Please bear with me another 5 minutes because this keyword argument is important. Those who are leaving, please watch the video. Okay, because it is only 15 to 10 to 15 minutes, right? Not a big deal. So what is a keyword argument? So when we pass a normal argument, that is called what? Which type of argument? Positional argument. But a keyword argument is a different. What do we mean by keyword argument? Keyword argument is in the form of a key and value pair. What does that mean? That means we are passing the argument with its value. That's why it is called keyword arguments. If you remember this keyword terminology, can you recollect where you have used this keyword?
Yeah.
Dictionary.
Dictionary, exactly. So that means this kind of the argument that you are going to pass in the function will be in the form of a dictionary type, like not in a proper dictionary, but the concept is same. Every value is a key. Sorry, every argument is having a key and a respective value. Now, if I define this function, greet keyword arguments, and what I am doing here, if keyword, that means if you have provided the arguments in a key value pair in a dictionary, like a dictionary key value pair, you have to provide in a key value pair. If you don't provide in a key value pair, then what will happen? It will throw the error because you are defining your function. This function is expecting the inputs in a key and value pair, not in a single word or a positional argument like we saw just before down, like this function. This function is taking just what? Num1, name1, name2, just a positional argument, right? But in the keyword situation, this is a key, some key equal to some value that you need to write. If you don't provide the arguments in a key value pair, then this is not going to work or it will throw the error. We'll see that as well. First, let's understand what happens. We pass this as a keyword argument, and how many numbers of keywords we can pass? Any number.
Okay.
So there is no bound. You need not to write it every time. Just the syntax is double star, then keyword arguments or any name. But in the arbitrary arguments or positional argument, it is a single star. When double star, the language will understand that this function expecting the arguments or parameter in a key and value pair. When single star, the machine will understand this function is expecting a single value or a positional argument, not a key value pair. Now, once we have the argument, what we are doing here, first of all, we are checking if keyword arguments, that means if it is in the form of or in the format of key value pair. If it is not in the form, then it is not going to do anything. And if this is in the key value pair format, then what you are printing? Hello. From the keywords that you have provided, you are calling the key name. Now, if you recollect in the dictionary, how to get the value in a dictionary, guys?
Value and key and name, adoda value.
So suppose I want to access 1 in this dictionary.
You have to
How to
call
ac-
A.
Key, throw key.
what I need to call here?
A.
Then only it will do what? Print 1, right? If I want to know what is the value of B key, so this is the with key I am accessing the value. So these are the key and these are the value, right? So with key I am accessing the value. So with dictionary key B I am accessing the value. Same thing is happening here. If you are providing the argument in a keyword format, then to access the value of the respective key, you have to write dictionary name. So here is the dictionary is KWARGS, the name we have given here, right? So dictionary, then the key name. So make sure you have the key called name there. If I call C here, what will happen?
It will
Error.
throw an error.
What error? Key error. That key doesn't exist in your dictionary boss, so why you are trying to calling C? Same thing. So you have to make sure whatever keyword argument you are providing here, that should contain a key name called name. That should contain a key name called message, right? Then only it will work. So before defining this function, you have to make sure what is your key and what are the value that you are storing. For example, how to call this function? This is how you can call this function. If you see here, greet, name is the key, RAM is the value, message is the key, good morning is the value. So two arguments I have provided here, one with key name, one with key message. That's also we have wrote this in our function logic. Right. So suppose now I will pass another called suppose key A and value is suppose 10, just random. Will this work?
Key error.
No, because
This is working, but it is not doing anything for, because as I said, you can pass enormous numbers of keyword pairs, right? Not 1, 2 or 3. This means you can pass any number of arguments. So here, how many numbers of arguments we passed? 3.
3.
That's why it worked. But we didn't write any logic in the code to handle this key. So to do that, what you need to do? You just need to add KWARGS. Then what is the key here? What is the key? A, correct.
A.
So then it will work. Okay. Now if we'll run this, it will print hello RAM, good morning, then 10, because the value is 10 here. Making sense?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll stop today, guys. It's 11:10. I don't want to stretch it out.
Yeah,
But
Ashish, sorry to interrupt you. So, like, what is the actual use of this? What is that key argument stuff? Because in the arbitrary argument itself, we can able to give a number of arguments, and then we can able to print it and all those stuffs. But in here, we have to mention it as a key and all those. Like, when it comparing to the like key argument, sorry, arbitrary argument, this key argument is like
got
having a
it.
lot of works, right? Like,
I got your question.
Mhm.
That so to answer your question, I will ask you one more question, and the answer lies on this question.
Okay.
So if we have list and tuple to store the data, why we need dictionary? To store the data in a key value pair.
We can easily retrieve the values in dictionaries.
Okay. And it also gives us an organized way to store the data, isn't it?
Okay.
Right. So by passing this keyword argument, it's based on your requirement. If you have some data which is having in an organized way, and you have suppose you have a column called name, and there you have multiple values.
Okay.
Right. So in that time, you just pass a key and value and this will automatically pick you up, right? And suppose I want to pass I don't I won't pass any keyword pair. How it is going to work? Like this, great 10 or something. Will it work? Any other value? Will it work? Like I just want to act like a or create like this as a positional argument. Will it work?
Yeah. Like it needs 3 arguments, right? We have given 2, 10, 20.
Why it is not working? The error itself pretty clear. Greet function, oh sorry, what happened? Greet function takes 0 positional argument. That means you have provided it as a positional argument,
Positional
not
argument,
as
yeah.
a keyword argument.
Okay.
Okay, that's why it is telling you this is taking 0 positional arguments, but 3 were given. It should be
Okay,
either
so
in
this
a
keyword arguments is used when we were working on with the Excel kind of data. Like if you have a n number of cells kind of stuff, then we can easily just give the column name in it, and then we can pass through the data.
correct.
Okay.
Correct. So
So
this is
this
how.
keyword argument is mostly used when we were curating the data in a like huge volume of type in the Excel format, right?
Excel format, and also the storage of your data is like a key and value pair, right? Not like a suppose you have cells, then the person and the cells that the person made, right? A person, 10 column, the value the cells the person made, like that, in a structured way. Like if you have a structured way data storing in a, so this is a so the dictionary actually a concept from coming from hash table. Hash table is a concept is a pretty much good concept in data structure. This hash table concept is to store data in an efficient way, so that whenever we require the data, immediately we can retrieve it.
Get it? Okay.
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 Any other questions, guys?
Ashish, I just pinged you in that comment chat. So could you please answer to that?
Oh,
With a
okay.
snapshot.
I'm not seeing the chat itself.
Just now I posted. No issue.
Okay, but I can see a screenshot. Screenshot you wrote, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Just a minute. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 number, and please enter the number to get the square. Square equal to number to the power 2 for number in numbers. Okay. Oh, is this a problem given to you, or you are writing on your own? Just curious to know.
I'm just writing on my own. Since you thought that, right? So with the square, I just made it little. I just beautified with some other things on my own.
Okay. Sure, definitely. That's a very good thing, actually. Let me. So you are defined.
Ashish, like, sorry to cut you off. Like, you are clearing some doubts, right? Like, I'll be able to see your collab screen. If you share, then it'll be, easy for us to.
So for that, can you please ping this code in the chat so that I can copy into my collab and share? Or what I can do? I'm not able to download.
I have that code in my laptop. I just posted this through my mobile.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay, let me do one thing.
I'm not sure. You have opened your Zoom, but I don't know why we can't see that chat window.
Yeah, I think
so
you have short.
in Zoom chat window they have made visible. So whenever we create a create a Zoom meeting, there's an option to do all this stuff. So there is an option to not to show the charts while sharing the screen. Maybe that option got enabled.
Okay, get it. Fine.
So I'm doing one thing. Just a minute. B. So I am downloading this file and I will share with everyone. Okay. Just give me 1 minute. So guys, those who want to go for work, they can leave. Okay. I'm not going to cover any more topics. just generic questions and the doubts. B job,
Sir,
yeah,
I
I
have
say
one
yeah.
doubt after this, like probably we can discuss it. I tried to create a class yesterday, but I'm getting some errors. So just wanted
No
to.
worries, no worries. We'll do that. We'll do that.
Okay.
This is
Yeah.
let's utilize this time for Q&A. No more concepts to be covered. So those who are getting late, they can leave. So did you guys get the picture?
Yeah.
Okay, now you can open the picture and let's try to see what he's like. He wrote like numbers equal to 1 to 6. This is in the list. Then I am taking the input from the user to enter a number. Okay. Then I am creating a squares list using a list comprehension, number for number in numbers. So that means the square variable will contain the number 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, right? Now index position is equal to numbers dot index number. Okay. Now you are printing squares dot index position. Okay. 9. Please
I
enter
get
the number.
3, so that's why I got that 9. I tried for all the other 5 digits, I mean values. I got the expected result.
So see, I will tell you what you are doing here. Okay.
Yeah.
Correct me. Okay. Whether my understanding is same as yours or not. So you created a list of numbers from 1 to 6. Then you are creating another list using a list comprehension, which is doing square of each of these numbers and storing it in a list 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, and 36. Now you are getting an input from the user where user will give you a number. Now that number will be from this number list or not, we are not sure, right? That number can be anything. Now, once you get that number from user, you are trying to find out whether that number is existing in your numbered list or not. Or
Yeah.
you are trying to get
I'm just giving the numbers which I have declared.
Okay. And the index number you are creating for which one? The number user input, right?
Yes.
Okay. And once that index number is there, you want to do what? You want to check whether that with that index number you want to access the square element.
Yes.
But do you think it will work for every time? Because that randomly it is depend on the user what number is entering, but you have some restricted list from 1 to 6.
Yes.
Okay, so either you say enter the number between 1 to 36. Okay, then if something between 1 to 36, you get the index number of that number from your numbers list, and using that index number try to access the square list that you created using list comprehension. Is my understanding correct?
Yeah.
This is just a piece of code that you want to share with us all, right? That's what you
I just want to know is this like can I do this kind of coding? Is it a legitimate one?
So see, the question is here: what you want? What is your expectation?
I mean, this is how the list comprehension has to be performed or not, or am I just
correct?
confused?
No. That you are correct. This is how the list comprehension should be popular. I got your point. Maybe the motive of this code is not clear, but the way you have written it is clear. It is correct.
Okay.
I can get your logic here. Correct.
Okay, got
so
it. Yeah,
so have you had any experience previously, or just by this class you have started doing this?
Actually, I have little experience in Python, but not with like
list
lambdas
comprehension
and everything.
Okay, but great. I really good thing. This is a good thing. Okay, what is the other questions that someone is asking?
Yes, sir. This is based on the class and object creation. Shall I share my screen and show?
Let me stop it. Yeah, you can say it. And I had one question yesterday also. Sorry, I didn't have time to solve that.
No problem.
So did you ask the same question yesterday?
Yes, that the
The
code
question,
cutup,
right?
code
Okay,
cutup
okay.
problem.
Really,
Yes.
so many batches, and I have my own work also.
I know, no,
No time.
understand. No issues.
Okay. No worries, no worries. We'll try to. Okay, what is the issue here? Class student, then self name marks, self name equal to name, mark equal to marks. Pass fail. This is a function or method that you are defining. If self marks greater than 40, return true, else return false. So you are creating the object by calling the student class with name equal to Sai and marks equal to this. Okay. And you are printing s1 dot name. So when you say s1 dot name, so here see,
No.
s name student is not defined. So first of all,
Okay. So
first of all,
S1 dot, I can, okay, S1 dot pass or fail, I should call.
s1 dot what? Pass or
I should
no,
call
no.
the
So
object
you,
name, not the method.
no, see, method and attributes. So yesterday I was like, there was a confusion. Like, what are attributes? To recap, this name and marks, right?
Marks, yes.
Those are attributes. What is the method here? Pass fail.
Pass fail, yes.
So by creating the object, you can call both attribute and name. So this is not a problem.
Okay.
Both
So,
attribute and method you can call. But the point is here, it is telling us student name student is
Not defined.
not defined. Just a minute. What is the point here? Self dot name equal to name, and if the self dot marks equal to this. Okay, can you try to see what is happening? Actually, there is some indentation problem. Can you remove the space from the left hand side of S1? Same as with print. No, that space is fine. So S1.
okay.
So yeah, can you run now?
Yeah.
Is it running?
2 minutes में आती हूँ. वो कपड़ा डालना.
Yeah. Now it is
Oh.
working.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please call the method also.
Okay.
Just print s1 dot pass dot fail, s1 dot pass underscore fail with bracket. So method should be called using bracket.
Should we pass self here, sir?
No. That's just a minute. Can you remove that suggestion that is coming?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can run now. Yeah. Can you run now? Right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
this is a pass true, and the name is Sai.
Okay. Yeah. Got it, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone?
No, sir.
So I'm having one question. Can I share my screen?
Sure, please.
This is a code cutoff problem. So actually it is a quadratic equation with coefficients A, B, C. Actually I'm getting the output, but my sample output is like up to 2 decimals, but I'm getting with 1 decimal. This program I have tried on myself, on my own.
Okay, that's a good thing then. So how you are handling 2 decimal and 3 decimal?
With this print function of up to 2.2f, it is not coming exactly. I'm getting just with the 1 decimal.
Okay,
can you
run
sir?
your code? Yeah, can you run your code?
Now it's coming. Okay, it's coming.
No, that is fine. This happens. Like, you guys are like doing well than me, actually better than me. When I started, I was like, struggling so much, but you are grasping so easily. But yeah, so I think this 0.2f is like 2 floating point. That should work.
Yes, sir. Two floating points. Yesterday I tried, but it didn't come. I have made
No,
some
no,
mistakes.
Risma, that happens. That happens. That happens.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, also Ashish, I just want to tell you that that drive link was back in online.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Great. So I will quickly upload the next within 2-3 minutes after the session is over.
Sure, sure.
Okay. So then we'll wind up, guys. Have a nice
Yeah.
day. Go for your work. Do your work.
Yeah, thank you,
We'll-
Ashish. Have a
Thank
good
you,
day
sir.
and have a good day, guys.
Bye.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you, sir.